Wow, a lot happened in this episode. First off, when Myeong Hee got kidnapped, I'm glad they didn't take the route of she's kidnapped for who knows how many episodes, and then later on she becomes the skeleton that we saw in episode 1. I'm glad they didn't take that route. Now, it's not to confirm that she's not the skeleton from episode 1. It could be her or it could be another character, but I'm just glad they didn't go that route. Now, the truth has been revealed not only for Myeong Hee and her dad, but also for Soo Ryeon. Now, I'm glad she didn't stay as this non-friendish type of character. I mean, yeah, she was the one that got Myeong Hee in trouble with the protest. She made Myeong Hee take all the blame. Well, actually, that was her dad. But overall, she got her in trouble, and she was the one that made Myeong Hee go on the blind date, and now they're in this situation. So for her to tell the truth, not only to her dad and to Soo-chan, this was a good turning point for her to actually be a good friend. And she even agreed to go to Seoul, which Hee Tae is going to go to Seoul as well. Now for Kinam. Talk about a true villain. So he has been messing up Myeong Hee's family's lives since day 1. We saw that flashback when Myeong Hee's dad was taken by the officers, being interrogated, beaten, and then when Kinam came in, Myeong Hee's dad was basically calling for help. But Kinam, he pretty much was acting evil, having Myeong Hee's dad admit to these information and threatening his mother. What a villain. What a ooh. So at the beginning of the episode, we do see a cloth or a bag, whatever, over Myeong Hee's head. It was taken off. We do know she's been kidnapped, but we don't know where she's at until later on. Now, after that scene, we see Hee Tae talking to Kyung-pil. Kyung-pil, he told him that Myeong Hee hasn't come home yet, and he thought that her night shift hasn't ended, which got Hee Tae a little bit worried. He even reported to the police, but the police saw it as, a girlfriend trying to avoid a boyfriend, so they didn't really take it seriously. Hee Tae tried to call Soo Ryeon, but then Soo Ryeon was like, well, you know her better than I do, so how come you don't know? Well, you're her best friend, and yeah. Well, at that point, before she even told the truth, it's hard to say that if she was a best friend, but the fact that she told the truth, I'm starting to believe she could be a good best friend, but at this point, yeah, we don't know yet. And then eventually Hee Tae went to her parents' house, had a meal, and then out of nowhere, there's Myeong Hee. But just looking at her facial expression, looking at how she's walking, it seems like she's been through a lot. And I'm thinking at that point, before we even saw what happened, I'm thinking, they had better not have beaten her or done anything illegal to her. Then we got a little bit of a flashback to when Myeong Hee was captured. It was just 2 dudes in a room with her. In my mind, I was thinking, is that the same interrogation room that she went because of Soo Ryeon's protest and she took all the blame? But it turns out it wasn't. So one of the guys was like, what can I do to shut you up? And then Myeong Hee threatened with, whatever you guys are going to do, I'm going to report it. And then one of the other guys knocked her out. She wakes up, she talks to Kinam. Kinam shows her pictures of her participating with the protests and threatening her so she can't go to Germany. She can't get a visa. And that's what happened. Her life pretty much got messed up because of Kinam. And then Myeong Hee was thinking, wait, are you doing all this because of your son? But then Kinam was like, well, there are other reasons why you cannot get a visa, and also there are other reasons why you can't go abroad. And she brought up information about her dad violating what was it? What did he violate? He violated the National Security Act in 1954, which does lead to the flashback, which I already talked at the beginning of this review. So again, Kinam has been messing with her family's lives since day 1. And then after the interrogating by Kinam, Myeong Hee, she came to the fact that she was a kami's daughter. And just looking at her father's expression, he didn't even have to answer yes or no to know the truth. And she pretty much screamed and blamed him for pretty much everything, living a quiet life, doing this and doing that. And if she had known, she wouldn't have got her hopes up. So at that point, I really felt bad, not only for Myeong Hee, but her entire family. So when Soo-Ryeon told the truth to Soo-chan and then eventually her dad, again, I gotta give her props because now I do think that this is a turning point for her to actually be a good friend and save her friend instead of having your friend take the blame for everything. And at one point, Soo-chan did blame himself. I kind of blame him too. I mean, he did kind of ignited the fire a bit more in that one meeting between him, his dad, and Kinam. So yeah, part of it is his fault, but the entire thing started with Soo-Ryeon anyway. I mean, with the blind date. But in the end, I do think that Kinam is to blame because, I mean, he kind of made everything worse. And then for Hee Tae trying to convince his dad that seeing Myeong Hee was just a fling, you told me to date a lot, she's gonna leave anyway. So this whole thing was just a misunderstanding, so let her leave the country and live her life. And for Kinam, it was pretty obvious that he's not stupid. He's not a stupid guy. And he knew this type of trickery that his son was trying to play on him. But then Hee Tae, he begged to his knees and basically told his dad, I'll do whatever you want just as long as you let Myeong Hee live her life. And when he did that and when he said all that, in my mind, I came up with a theory. There's a possibility that Hee Tae could be the skeleton. I mean, if he begged on his knees to live a life that his father wants him to live as, and he's basically not living his own, maybe it came to a point where he didn't want to live that life anymore. And he is the skeleton that we saw in episode 1, so there is a possibility that the skeleton could be Hee Tae. Man, my hair is... And then we get to the final scene. We do know that Soo-Ryeon and Hee Tae are going to leave for Seoul. But before he left, he went to go see Myeong Hee. They talked. Hee Tae gives back her earrings as he said it broke. But basically, it was a goodbye. And that was the end of the episode there. And pretty much Myeong Hee started crying. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the episode and my review. If there's anything else I might have missed, please leave it in the comments below. This was a pretty good episode. A lot happened. I feel like in this episode, a lot happened a lot more than the previous episodes because now with the whole situation that got worse with Kinam's participation and also his threatening motives, and seeing him not only threatening Myeong Hee and her family, but also threatening Hee Tae as well because of Myeong Hee. Yeah, just seeing how everything plays out, things are getting even more serious. And the only thing that is on our minds, I know, the one thing that is on our minds right now is who is the skeleton in episode 1. And right now it's hard to say because everyone's lives are at a point of a downhill, I should say. And to really confirm who's who is hard to say. So for right now, I'm not going to say anything. I will come up with theories though, but I won't say, oh, my decision is this character and that's it. So anyway, I'll end it here. If you guys like my review, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. See ya.